All right, let's check in on another Trump event. You know, Trump, for all of the power that he has, is rather sensitive, and he takes any genuine question of just sort of, hey, Mr. President, what do you think of X, as a personal slight. You're defying him. You should be so loyal to him that your only question is Brian Glenn type questions of how do you do it, sir? You're so healthy, and I wish that we shared a bed. And here you have a reporter, I think an NBC reporter, just asking, hey, it is an economic fact that certain prices are going to be driven up by your tariff policy. You say people need to be patient, and you say that, you're working fast on deals, but it could take a while. What do you say to people who are currently feeling pain or are going to in the coming days and weeks? And Trump says, you're not telling the truth.
You did say that you are confident these deals will be done, but you also said that you're in no rush. Americans are seeing prices rise. They're seeing it on their bills. How long can they expect that pain to last?
So they've already seen it get much better, because if you were truthful, which you're not, I know you very well.
What a weird mobster thing to say. You're not truthful. I know you very well. How's your mother? Is she all right? Is she in good health?
They've already seen it get much better, because if you were truthful, which you're not, I know you very well. You have gasoline that hit $1.98 yesterday in a couple of states. You have gasoline's way down. The price of oil has dropped substantially.
All right, so let's address that. Newsweek reports no, gas prices are not falling under Donald Trump. They are actually rising. The White House has celebrated the recent sharp drop in gas prices across the country as a victory for the Trump administration, but American drivers are actually facing much higher prices at the pump now than they were a month or 3 months ago, even with recent declines. It gives the specifics there, but one notable part of this is, yes, gas prices are now cheaper than they were during the last 3 years, but they're also up from where they were 3 months ago when Trump returned to office. So it's such a weird thing to go, I'm so great, gas prices are so cheap, when it's still more expensive than what Biden handed to you, because obviously we had a big pandemic era spike caused by a lot of things, including some deals you made, sir, to lower oil production. And then all those things got sorted out and kind of the things stabilized and they came down to a healthier amount. And then they rose, and then now they're coming back down. And there are a few factors for that. One that is contributing and definitely will continue to contribute is the fact that we're experiencing the beginning of an economic slowdown. So with some things, while, in the moment it's going to feel nice to pay a cheaper price, a contributor to prices going down will be the fact that we're heading into a slower economic period. And so demand will be following, and that will run parallel to prices going down. It reminds me of, and obviously that's not the only factor, there are others, but it does remind me of during the pandemic, Trump would cite how cheap gas got during the economic collapse of the pandemic as it being proof of how great he did. No, that was a terrible time. And the reason that prices were so low was for a very terrible reason, economic demand just collapsing. That's why it was cheap. So a similar thing we're going to see if this trend continues with him. One of these super far right, to continue with some press clips, Corinne Clifford, media folks, I don't want to call them reporters, but pro-Trump people who act like reporters who have now been let into the press briefings. She filmed herself very bizarrely during either before or after one of these press briefings and started talking about CBS, fake news, CBS. Look at this reporter. He's talking, and it's Peter Doocy, who's a Fox reporter.
I'd like to get more info about this CHNV program. Basically, President Biden started it with the stroke of a pen to let more than 530,000 immigrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela into the United States. President Trump wants to undo that, but a judge who's appointed by Barack Obama is saying that all 530,000 plus people.
CBS News is talking right now. Fox News. Fox. Are y'all also too far right for Fox? Really? And also, Jaden, what is this? It's very bizarre. Throw this back up, Jaden. Very interesting. You're in the White House press briefing room What's up, guys? Corinne here. That's CBS. So, and she's sort of like posing for the camera.
Is saying that all 530,000 plus people are entitled to their own deportation hearings. And so now the question becomes, what's this president going to do? Are they just going to try their luck in court with an appeal?
She says, you can tell it's CBS News because they're so fake. I'm a reporter, but I don't know the difference between Peter Doocy of Fox News and CBS News. They're so fake, though. They hate Trump. Anti-Trump coverage all day. That's all they do. Can you hear me? Maybe if I get closer, you can hear me. Very bizarre, Corinne. Corinne Clifford. Nice to meet you.
More often than not, so far, in court, a lot of these things that they've been trying to do have been holding up. Or are they just going to try to get rid of these 530,000 plus folks, some of whom have been found to have committed fraud on their applications, and that is why President Trump thinks he can get rid of this program. Something else that we would like to get to the bottom of. What laws do officials here think they need to change?
This is the weirdest. CBS News can get rid of it. I mean, Trump can get rid of any program that he wants. Is that? No, that's not even legally true. But okay, let's keep. This is fascinating. I'm fascinated. We'll get back to the Trump clips, but this is very fascinating.
Support people who were born in the United States with long rap sheets to cheap prison cells in Central America. We think we will get answers to some of this. Hopefully all of it.
In Australia might be better than the prison in the United States.
Very strange vibe. What are you doing? That is who replaced. And the posing, like, look at, I'm here. Look, I'm in the press briefing room. Check it out. That's who replaced the Associated Press. Yay. Great things are happening. But let's charge forward to this Oval Office meeting where Trump is again fed up with Jerome Powell for being independent with the Fed, which it's supposed to be so that interest rates aren't at the whim of a president driven by politics.
Can you clarify on rate cuts? Do you intend to seek Powell's firing if he doesn't change his stance on rate cuts? Or is that on the table? Or is that
Well, I think he should do the rate cuts because I think if Europe has done it, it puts us at a disadvantage to Europe. I mean, he plays right into their hands. So I think he should do the rate cuts. We don't have really inflation now. I just said the major things are going down. Oil is great. Oil is way ahead of schedule. And that's because of our policies.
It's not. Oh, well, kind of, actually, yeah. A little bit. Not positively, though, but okay. Man, who asked that question, though? It must have been CBS News. They're so fake. You can tell. Oh, what are you the mad at Jerome? I mean, you just going to question him like that? Why don't you do real journalism? If you did real journalism, you would ask, how does your makeup look so good all the time?
changed your mind potentially about tariffs and what you plan to do going forward?
No.
Is there anything the Prime Minister said to you that changed your perspective?
No, tariffs are making us rich. We were losing a lot of money under Biden. Trillions of dollars, trillions on trade.
He's just saying words. Just words are just coming out. It's just, what does that mean? He's talking about trade deficits, which he doesn't understand at all.
And now that whole tide has turned. We're making a lot of money. We're taking in a lot of money. Don't forget, we're taking in 25% on cars, 25% on steel, 25% on aluminum, 10% baseline. We put penalties on China for sending us fentanyl. We put penalties on Mexico and Canada.
We're tariffing the fentanyl. So he talks about taking in lots of money in tariffs. The question that we often ask is from who? Whom? Who? Whom? Who? Who? Taking in lots of money from somebody. But when you ask, you realize from U.S. companies. But what's funny is he's been saying that we've been taking in $2 billion a day. Okay. From U.S. companies. So us, we're going to pay that because they're going to have to raise the prices. But even by his his standard, even if that would be a victory, CNBC reports that the CBP says latest tariffs have generated $500 million, well below Trump's estimate, which is good kind of for us because then the companies haven't yet been hit hard enough, or not hard enough, but haven't been hit to yield the economic or financial outcome that he's been pretending would come of it. But that makes sense because he barely got all this stuff together like 2 seconds ago. It's just been on and on and on, off and on and off. And I don't know the enforcers of these tariffs, how they know when to enforce what. Because at every moment, Trump's announcing changes to his tariff policy. Then Jerome Powell, you might remember, was nominated by Trump in 2017. But now Trump's very fed up with him because, again, he's going to do what's best for the economy, not what's best for Trump in the short term. And Trump gets asked, do you regret nominating him?
Because they're not very smart people.
Do you regret nominating him? Do you regret nominating him, President?
Do you regret nominating him, Jerome Powell?
Look, in the first 4 years, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country. The stock market went up 88 points.
So now we care about the stock market? I thought you told us not to care about the stock market.
I think he's terrible, but I can't complain because we had the most successful administration economically in the history of our country. I think.
Okay. Do you know why? Because Trump didn't do that much. That's why. Yeah. You were made the captain of. No, you were. Wait. Yes, you were made the pilot of a plane that was already on autopilot. Okay. You know how when you fly, it's actually a lot of autopilot, I think. And so then you sat in the cockpit and you went, I did this. I'm the cockpit master. I'm the cock master. I did it. It's great. It's perfect. I'm so good at being in the cockpit. I love the cockpit. And you were saying that, and you, but you weren't doing anything. Like we were on autopilot. You just inherited it. And then a storm came your way and you flew the mother-loving plane into the ground. So I don't know how much we give you credit for that, but now you really are doing stuff. So to your credit, unlike the first time, you really are doing economically consequential things. The only thing you did economically consequential in the first term was the big tax cuts for rich folks that proved not to boost growth the way that you said that was going to not cause the addition to the debt that we ended up seeing. But this time you're really getting going, and it's going badly. So now we see when you really get the chance to do stuff, you don't have the guardrails you had before, it's bad. Then Trump says this sick joke he keeps making.
Worst administration in the history of our country. Worse than Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter died a happy man. You know why? Because he wasn't the worst president. Joe Biden was.
What? He thinks he's so funny with that. He's saying Jimmy Carter died a happy man because he wasn't the worst president because Joe Biden took that mantle, which is obviously ridiculous. Jimmy Carter and Biden both were much better than even Trump. Much better than Trump. But it's also such a rude thing to say to someone after they pass. And he said it right before Carter passed, which is essentially to say you're the second worst president. When the only label or the only person that label really applies to is Trump, second worst or worst. Did I say second best earlier with Jimmy Carter? He's saying that Jimmy Carter's the second worst, if I misspoke there. And saying that about someone who's passed away, it's just so gross. Share your thoughts in the comments. If you want to get our daily bonus show where we really let loose, then you can do it by clicking the join button below.